Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Football Chuggu Podcast. I'm your host, Pearse McLaughlin, and today I'm joined by Tommy McLaughlin. How you doing, Tommy?
Nice to see you again, everyone.
Good to see you. So today we'll talk about a little bit of managerial news in the Premier League, in particular Manchester City, bit of transfer news from both England and Scotland, and a couple of managerial sackings, and a lowdown of the World Cup round of 32 in terms of matches that have been played already, and yeah, reacting to probably potentially Scotland, Korea, and Japan. And then a little bit of Asian football news as a roundup. Yeah. So before we get into the World Cup round of 32s, also some really interesting matches already been played and still some good matches to come. I think we have to touch on the elephant in the room, and that is obviously Scotland didn't make out of the group stage. They finished third place, the 10th best team of a potential 12, and only 8 went through. Scotland crashed at the World Cup, having lost to Morocco and Brazil. And in the process, Steve Clarke has resigned from the Scotland manager job a month after signing a new 4-year deal. So, Tommy, what's your thoughts on that, mate?
Well, I'm not surprised with this the sacking or him stepping down because I'm grateful for what he's done for Scotland, like getting them to these three major tournaments. That's a good feat. Uh, Scotland FA signing him on a 4-year contract before the World Cup was a bit of a premature kind of contract because usually you maybe see how he does in the tournament that he's going into and then sign him on a big, if he does well, big major contract. But Scotland, what can I say? Like going into the World Cup and expecting to defend every game and get results doesn't work. His tactics were shocking. He didn't seem to change up his tactics in each game that he didn't do well in. He just kept it the same. We done a couple of swaps with some players, and I was a bit shocked when he dropped Ben Doak from the first team. And also putting in Scott McKenna that's not played many games. And what can I say about the Brazilian game? It could have been 10 to Brazil. We were very lucky that it was only three, and that's saying the game. Defence was shocking. I do not know why Gunn is in goals for Scotland because I don't really rate him as a goalkeeper. I would rather play Craig Gordon, and that's me pushing it. I don't really. I think Craig Gordon's too old, but I'd rather play Craig Gordon over Gunn. I think I'm happy, but the team needs to perform next time because I got my hopes up and then I watched the Haiti game, and after watching the Haiti game, I knew that we weren't going to go far. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I think obviously Scotland get out the groups. It's to be expected, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you're putting, I think you need to put in perspective a little bit. Morocco sixth, seventh, sixth or seventh, both Morocco and Brazil sixth and seventh in the world. I'm not sure which in which order, but like you say, two pot one teams in a group is pretty hard.
Mhm.
And I knew we'd beat Haiti, but when I watched the performances, Haiti, it was very concerning. It was 1-0, but it was a 1-0 scrape.
Mhm.
Well, I thought Haiti were a better team. I think if they actually could take their chances, they probably should have beaten us on the day. And against
Yeah.
Morocco, we were unlucky in terms of a couple of penalty decisions that we should have went for us. But like you say, the first losing the goal, the defensive line stepping up that early in the game, mountain to climb. But even then, Morocco had a lot of chances in the game, and they didn't take
Mhm.
them. And then the Brazil game, architect's own downfall in terms of trying to play it for the back, conceding two sloppy goals. Even we get away with one with Jack Kendry
Yeah.
on Vinicius Junior, where it was called back for a foul, which I thought you're like, oh yeah, thank God, it's still only 1-0, it's still got a chance.
Yeah.
But like you say, I thought it wasn't good enough in terms of the setup wasn't good enough in terms it was so defensive, but the defence is shocking. And then up front, it was powder puff. We offered no goal threat whatsoever. And a lot of key players in the whole tournament, like John McGinn, I know he scored against Haiti, but he scored one goal in 3 games. I think we had 7 shots on target across 3 games. McTominay was non-existent. The loss of Billy Gilmore before the tournament was massive as well. And Aaron Hickey lost him after the first game as well. But a lot of the players did not perform. Shankland was invisible. Shea Adams was non-existent. Ryan Christie didn't play well. McTominay, McGinn, the list could go on. I thought Scotland were really average, and I thought we got what we deserved. And I think Steve Clarke should never have been given a new 4-year deal before the tournament. And the fact is, resigning after a month just because you get put out of the World Cup is a bit strange, bit of a weird decision, a bit of a rash decision. And then his conduct with the media after games, they're asking him simple questions, and he's getting angry, storming out of interviews. Fans have spent thousands of pounds to get to America to see Scotland play the World Cup for the first time in 28 years. They demanded answers on how the team set up, why they lost. You need to give an explanation. That's your duty as a national team manager. And yeah, obviously, I think he's done brilliantly in terms of getting us to tournaments. But in 3 tournaments, he's absolutely killed us in terms of the way he's set up. Um, and I don't think. I think every time he's overthinking things, he's got too defensive, too pragmatic. And like you say, I thought it was really poor tournament from Scotland. I'm proud that we got a win in the World Cup for the first time since 1990, but that's the only positive I can take from this World Cup. And like you say, I think it was the right decision that he resigned because his football is so boring to watch. And like you say, if you're going to play so defensive, you need to have an attacking threat and you need to be solid defensively. And we weren't either of those things. So yeah. Steve Clarke resigns as Scotland manager and will begin the process of a new manager, which I don't even know if there's any potential candidates. Probably there's been rumours like Ange Postecoglou, John McGlynn, Neil Lennon,
David
uh,
Moyes.
Steven Gerrard, David Moyes. There's no clear front runner at the moment for me. I
For
think,
me, I think we need to consider a manager that's good at attacking because
yeah,
that's what we're missing. Because you said 7 shots on target in 3 games. And doesn't seem like a good statistic.
yeah, and let you say, like a lot of these players in the Scotland team are in their either late 20s or the wrong side of 30. So
Mhm.
that was the last World Cup for a lot of these players. So I think there's going to be sort of a change in
New
Scotland,
players.
to a new cycle, and you're going to have to promote some young players coming through. So yeah, it's the end of a cycle, and like you say, and hopefully Steve Clarke does this. Now that Steve Clarke's gone, he can't pick his favourite players. He actually pick players that are on form. And you mentioned Craig Gordon, Angus Gunn, but I thought the number one goalkeeper for Scotland should have been Scott Bain
Aye.
because he was the one that was playing week in, week out into a high level in the Scottish Premiership. Whereas,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, like, all three Scottish goalkeepers that were in the squad, Liam Kelly, Craig Gordon, Angus Gunn, they played a combined 3 games all season together.
It's different.
You should be playing goalkeepers that are actually playing football. So the goalkeepers are the same as outfield players. You need to have match practice. Can't just go straight into a World Cup having played zero competitive football. But like you say, the tenure's over, and we'll stick to another one close to home for me, and that's South Korea. So South Korea lost to South Africa on the final group stage game, and they also, like Scotland, finished the group with 3 points. A massive disappointment, and they crashed out the World Cup at the group stage for the first time since 2014. And do you know who the manager was in 2014, Tommy?
Same guy.
The same guy, Myung-Bo, and he's now officially resigned from the South Korean national team. There's a massive outcry that was calling for his head anyway. And like I say, again, similar to Steve Clarke, he played a horrendous formation and left some of his key players out of the squad. Um, yeah, and I think the rate was on the wall for him. I think he's massively
Mhm.
underperformed with a squad, and yeah, I think it was a right decision for him to resign as well. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think his tactics were all wrong. Uh, he didn't get the best out of his captain, you know, a guy that's been performing at high levels ever since he broke into the scene with Hamburg. Class. And when he plays for Korea, it's like, where am I going to put him? Like, you put him in the wrong positions, get him to sit for deeper. You don't want Son sitting deeper, you know what I mean? And then plus as well, um, the goalkeeper, what can I say? Not been very, very consistent during the games. He's had a couple of good saves in that, but for me, I even called it the first game. I said he's got mistakes in him, and I do think as well, like after watching that game against Czech Republic, uh, I think they were piss poor. They could have got beat if that wasn't for the Suchek offside goal. I thought they were getting dominated in there, and even if they did get through, I think that they're going to go out eventually. So I do think that needed a change, and I wouldn't have hired the same manager that struggled last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he did really well with Ulsan. He won, what was it, two titles in a row with Ulsan, and then he
Mm,
got the job. But I think similar to Scotland, Korea's got a problem at the
mm,
top. The top, what the KFA and SFA
mm,
need to get a revamp because the people in charge are employing these people, and the president of KFD
mm.
went to the same high school or something like that. It was like it's like all of a bit of a pals act, and like you say, I don't think he was a popular candidate among supporters. And like you say, like they had Jurgen Klinsmann before that, and he wasn't a popular appointment as well. So they went back to someone Korean, who was previously in charge of South Korea. Didn't do a great job over 10 years ago. And again, he's massively underperformed with a squad. And Korea's got a good squad, like you said, a good core of players there. And they should do a lot better than what they
Mm.
did. And like you said, you don't start Hwang Chan, you don't start Oh Young-gu, and in the final game, you don't play Lee Jae-sung, who's one of your best players,
Of course.
and you put Son Heung-min on the bench and only bring him on with 30 minutes to go. And then when your team's not winning or not performing, he's just changing fullback for fullback. Doesn't change the formation, doesn't try go attacking. And for me, if you no offense to South Africa, but South Africa is known for rugby.
Yeah.
Um, it's not known for football. The last time they played that World Cup was in 2010 when they hosted it.
Mm.
So, and let's say, and they lost to Mexico from a goalkeeping error. So, again, it's fine margins in this World Cup, but they didn't perform well enough, and they didn't deserve to go through somewhat Scotland, and the managers paid for it.
For me, I have to admit, like, I was surprised with the goalkeeper selection. There's good goalkeepers on the bench. There's two good goalkeepers, and that guy was 35. And after a couple of mistakes in the first game, I would have rotated it because I had a feeling. I even said to you, Pearse, didn't I? I
Mm,
said he's got mistakes in him. He's going to make another mistake that's going to cost him.
yeah.
And then they played Mexico, and he's caught in no man's land. I don't know why he was coming out.
But
Was he?
even that massive mistake, which obviously cost the game, he did make some great saves after that, which is as a goalkeeper, one mistake is costly because if you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it's a goal basically.
Hmm.
But his other saves aren't highlighted because he then obviously the mistake then cost, and then you're out by fine margins. So yeah, if you're a goalkeeper, you have to be mad to be a goalkeeper. That's why I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm a striker. I like scoring goals. And
Scoring for me.
what is
Most they've been a goalkeeper. Most of it is like you don't get the ball too much unless you're Celtic and they get the ball to the goalkeeper all the time, right? But most teams like to keep the wing play or they like to have most of the ball in the middle of the park. So if you're playing for a normal team, you're not going to get much involvement in the game. So for me,
mm,
when I was playing at a youth level, and they said, "Can you go on goals?" and I said, "Oh yeah, I go on goals." I got bored quite quickly, man. And then you end up like switching off, and then you cause a goal, and you're like, How did I do that?" Uh, So for me, I've been playing. I played every position, and finally, when I was younger, obviously, Pearse, striker, but now I play more defensive in midfield because I enjoy it more. But have to say, playing goalkeeper is a very hard job because you need to stay switched on. If you're not switched on, mistake. I mean,
yeah. No, I totally agree with you. But yeah, so we'll move on now to the round of 32. So we've had, was that two rounds so far, two match days
Mm,
in the round of 32. So we've had Monday the 29th of June. So we had one match that was South Africa nil, Canada 1.
mm,
And then today, obviously, time of recording, Tuesday the 30th of June, Brazil 2, Japan 1, Germany 1, Paraguay 1, with Paraguay winning 14 penalties, and
mm.
Netherlands 1, Morocco 1, with Morocco winning 3-2 on penalties. We've still got another one, two, three, four days of fixtures of the round of 32, but let's talk about the matches that have happened. I think we'll start with any matches that stand out to you. Want to start with the Canada, South Africa?
Yeah, Canada, South Africa, brilliant for Canada because obviously they're one of the none I would say host nations, but like
Yeah, the other
basically,
host nation, one of the host nations, one of three host nations.
but still, man, to get by last round of 32 and then to round of 16, man, that's a feat for because when you think about Canada, you can name a couple of great players, but the squad overall is unknown. You know what I mean? They've also got
Probably
that
the
guy.
star players is probably what Jonathan David, Alfonso Davies. We know Alison Johnston from playing in Scotland, Celtic.
Alfonso Davies has been out for a couple of games, hasn't he?
He just came back from this game off the bench this game.
So that's a good sign that he's came back, but they didn't have him and they managed to make it through. So it just shows you the strength that they have and like the fight that they have. I wish Scotland was more like that. But yeah, South Africa's not a great team, but they made it far. They got by the group. You know what I mean? That's a feat for South Africa. And as you say, they're known for rugby. Canada is known for their hockey mostly, but they're doing well in the World Cup. And I didn't expect them to get that far. So fair play to them. And obviously, as you can see, my team, fair play to Alistair Johnson, doing well for the team. I mean, good start for Alistair Johnson, first player to get booked in the World Cup.
What do you mean?
He's the first player to get booked in the World Cup.
This is match day four, not match day one.
I don't, I'm just saying that's a good start for a Canadian player.
Not a good start. It's a terrible start to get booked. The first get booked. Maybe it's
Aye.
maybe a different mindset because you're a defensive minded player, but I think obviously it's a better start to be the first person to score in the World Cup.
Aye, aye.
Obviously that's a striker's prerogative.
Mm,
But like you mentioned, South Africa, Canada, I thought South Africa gave it a right good go of it, and it was a very tight game. Canada won it late on, with a lovely finish at the bottom left hand corner.
mm,
And like you say, I don't think it was a game of true quality, but
mm.
like you say,
True craft.
South Africa have overachieved in this tournament, got to last 32, which is a massive achievement for them. Um, and then Canada, the journey keeps continuing. I've been very impressed with Canada, the way they play football, um, because the transitions, the fast counter attack, and just all three host nations I've been very impressed with, and Canada especially. And I really like the coach Jesse Marsh, the American coach. Um, Obviously, managed Salzburg, Leipzig, Leeds United in the Premier League, so we've known him from many years.
Mm,
Top coach, and what he's done with his Canada side is he's made them dream, made them believe, and I think Canada can go potential quarters, depending on the draw. And like I say, I think at the top end of the pitch, you've got some really quality. They've got the two Davids, Promise David, and then Jonathan David for Juventus. So it was some good athletic players in the middle of the park and the wings. So yeah,
mm.
for me, really impressed by Canada, and yeah, one of the host nations go through, the first team to go through. And then I think the next thing we'll talk about, Tommy, I think it's got to be Brazil 2, Japan 1. What's your thoughts?
Disappointing. Uh, I watched the game. Obviously, I had to stay up late to watch it, but I wasn't going to miss it. It's a big game and two great teams. Japan's amazing technical ability. The players have showed it throughout the games that they are very talented, and the manager's tactics were amazing. Even though it didn't look as if he was doing much, he was like writing down numbers and random stuff. But the team seemed to understand what he was asking them, and they brought it out and done it. So I was a bit disappointed when I seen the last 95th minute goal. don't know what the defender was thinking. For me, putting his own team out for a stupid decision. His decision making was not there. Got the ball in. He done well first, intercepted the ball off the Brazilian, tried to dribble, and then he played a pass. Such a soft pass, interception. For me, what you need to do there, because we had that with Stuart Armstrong against England. Just kick it up the pitch, man. It's the 95th minute. Like, get into extra time, get some tactics, get a wee water break, get a wee bit of refreshments. And I thought if they got to extra time, they had a good chance going through. Um, great goal by Brazil. Not at fault. Goalkeeper couldn't do anything but that. He tried his best. Suzuki, a fantastic goalkeeper. He's actually shown throughout his career for Japan. But disappointing for Japan because they played so well up until that game. They played well during the game as well. But a silly mistake cost them the game. That's all I can say.
Yeah, like I say, I think Brazil performed pretty poorly in the first half.
Mm.
Obviously, Sano gets a goal from a sloppy mistake with Casemiro at the back. They take the lead, and maybe arguably Japan take the lead too early
Mm.
because in the second half they stopped what they was doing well and they just sat back and inviting pressure, and eventually that pressure told in the end. And like I say, you mentioned the sloppy mistake right at the end, but to lose the game in the 95th minute is the most heart in the most is it's got to be the most heartbreaking of circumstances
Mm.
because you're literally seconds away from extra time. And like I say, teams in extra time tend to stay as a draw and it goes to penalties as we've seen in the other two
Mm.
games today as well. So yeah, really real heartache for Japan because for me they were one of my dark horses in this tournament. I thought they'd go really far, and I thought if they could beat Brazil, they could go all the way. It's proved a step too far. And let's say, Ancelotti is such a good manager. He just
Looks like one.
if things are not going well, he knows how to change it and tweak and get the confidence in players and just win. Just he just knows how to win matches, and that's for me why he's one of the greatest managers of all time. He's won the Champions League with Ace Man as a player and as a manager. Won the Champions League with Real Madrid on two separate occasions. So for me, he's experienced at every level. He's won wherever he's went, and he's a born winner. And like you say, I think if Brazil didn't have Ancelotti, Japan would have won this game quite comfortably. And that's the
I'm
difference.
saying
That's the
as
difference for me.
well, he might not play attractive football, but his tactics are speak for themselves.
He doesn't
They
need
just
to. He doesn't need to play attractive football. What he plays is winning football.
mm,
And like you say, when he won the Champions League back in 2022, Vinicius Junior was the main man, and he just knows how to get the best out of Vinicius Junior.
mm.
And it's showing this talent because Vinicius Junior's
He's been the best player.
been a standout player for Brazil. Because even when Brazil played Scotland, I thought Vinicius Junior was unbelievable.
Mm,
Um, and like you say, I thought Brazil, in certain aspects, were always looking for Vinicius Junior to do some magic. And at that time, when Real Madrid won the Champions League back in 2022, Real Madrid, I know Benzo was scoring all the goals, but in terms of someone that could just carry the ball and cause and create chances, Vinicius Junior was that man. He's got off the
mm.
boil this season for Real Madrid for whatever reason. But Ancelotti seems to get the best out of him, and like you say, Brazil could go pretty far in this tournament, but the edge past Japan and heartache for Japan for me. And the next game for me we're going to talk on is Germany and Paraguay, which Paraguay have won 4-3 on penalties, which was a massive shock. And for me, I'll start with this one. So it was for me. This started at 8 o'clock this morning for me. No, sorry, 6 o'clock this morning for me. And it went to extra time and penalties, and I was pretty shocked. I didn't watch the game in terms of the first 90, but I watched extra time and penalties
Mm.
as I was getting ready to leave for work this morning. And yeah, Germany very disappointing. And they also got a goal disallowed for a foul on the goalkeeper by Anton. And you think Germany's going to go and win it, and then the penalty shoot. Oh my God, some horrendous penalties, especially Havertz and Moltemada. When they're about to step up, I don't know why, I just knew they weren't scoring.
Mm.
And then Paraguay. if they didn't get a chance to win, basically two chance, all they need to do is score one out of the last two penalties, and they've won the penalty shoot, and they missed two in a row, and you're like, what the hell? Germany being handed a lifeline. Neuer saves a penalty at age of 40, and you're like, wow, Germany have got a chance. The back into sudden death, winner takes all. First penalty, and it's Jonathan Tah, and he's hit into Rosette, and then Paraguay then score, and they've won, and they're through. Which for me, Paraguay, this is the Paraguay team that was beat 4-0 by USA in match day one.
True.
So I don't think anyone would have seen this result coming. And like you say, for me, I think the Germany aura, the Germany fear factor is gone. I think it's similar to a little bit of Brazil. Ever since Germany have won the World Cup in 2014, they've been a massive disappointment in any tournament in Euros and the World Cups. And I think for me, someone like Julian Nagelsmann should potentially be resigning or being sacked because
Mm.
that is a massive failure to get put with Paraguay in penalties, considering the quality that you've got in that squad.
For me, I'm going to build on that. Like, I thought they did well in the first couple of games, but it was against small teams in the group stage. And then obviously I did stay up to watch it, but I caught the highlights, and they lack that leadership. They lack a lot of leadership in that team, and whenever like they lose possession, they look vulnerable. And fair play to Paraguay. Horrible way to go out. It's penalties, man, but is what it is. And Paraguay advanced to the next round and knock out but one of the big dogs. So Paraguay, I think the manager should be celebrated in the country for getting them to this stage because it was unlikely, one of the most unlikely things that he could have done. I do think as well that Paraguay have showed true grit to get through to this stage. True grit, you know what I mean? Because penalties, the pressure that a penalty shootout in a World Cup to get you into the next round must be crazy feeling. You must feel sick. You know what I mean, sometimes. But I do think that,
Maybe for some players, not for me.
of course. But Germany have lost a lot of legends like through retirement and that. So I cannot name a lot of players in that Germany squad that I would say is world class. So there's a couple of players that have been performing like Kai Havertz and that in previous games, but they
World
just
class?
not world class. I'm just saying like a couple of players that perform doesn't need to, for me it's world class.
No?
Manuel Neuer used to be world class when he was
Oh,
in his prime.
definitely. Aye, he's 40 years old. I
Max
still,
Hummels was near that when he was playing in his prime as well. Jerome Boateng is playing in with them.
I
He was in
think
that.
there's two players for me that are world class in Germany. I think
And who's that?
Joshua Kimmich.
Does he still play for Germany? Oh yeah, he's good.
But the thing is, the problem with Nagelsmann, he's playing him at right back. He's not a right back, he's a midfielder.
Back. He's
Older
versatile
midfielder.
and just for the
He's not got the pace. He's not got the pace. And it's not his natural position. He doesn't like playing. He's a midfield player. So for me, if you play him in his right position, he's world class. Um, and I think Jamal Musiala is is near that level. He's the
yeah, yeah.
only. Well, I think his feet are unbelievable. Like you say, a massive ACL injury towards the end of the season.
Mm.
He came back for the last couple of games of the season, and he never started him in any of the games. So I think if he was on form, I think Germany and Bayern perform a lot better. But like you say, I
Mm.
think they're the two only real world class players. In my
Yeah.
opinion, I think the other players are decent level, average. But Germany used to be littered with five,
Talent.
6, 10 world class players in the squad.
Mm.
Um, and let's say it's the first time Germany have ever lost a penalty shoot in a World Cup in their entire history.
All right.
Like, because
Crazy.
that was one of the saying that it was like what was it? Birth, death, taxes, Germany winning penalties at World Cup.
Mm.
Now that's stats gone because they've lost their very first penalty shoot at a World Cup. And sticking in penalty shootout heartache. Next match is Netherlands 1, Morocco 1, with Morocco winning 3-2 on penalties. What's your thoughts, Tommy?
Well, another unpredictable result that you wouldn't expect because like Holland have got a lot of, they've got a couple of world class players like De Jong, they've got Van Dijk. I mean, they've got some players that are near that level, like Dumfries, that you're expecting to do well in it because he's just signed for Real Madrid. Um, Gakpo has been playing very well for Netherlands. He's been great. He's been a standout player for them. Morocco, a team hard to understand and hard to judge what they're going to do. They seem to score goals very easily. You seem to get in the back of the net, and that when you score more goals in the back of the net, you win games. But in that game, they only scored one, and obviously Gakpo scored first into it, and extra time, nothing, into penalties, and they say like another poor penalty shootout, but another great good one for an underdog team. I do think like the underdog teams seem to be doing well in this World Cup. That's quite surprising. Like the big teams are just underestimating the strength of the smaller countries, and it seems to come back and bite them. Mhm.
Well, I agree. I think this World Cup's probably really exciting. It's interesting because there's more games, more teams, small nations. But
Mm.
let's say I think like a lot of people predicted that all these small nations would just get like 0 points and wouldn't
Mm.
perform and they'd just get run over. But see the thing is football isn't won on paper. Regardless if you've got talent, right? Hard work always beats talent at the end of the day. If you don't
Yeah.
run, don't track back, you don't cover every blade of grass, you're not going to win. Even
Mm.
the elite players have to perform and you have to run more. And it's basically who's getting the bigger desire. And let's say Morocco are a good side, right? They lost an African Cup of Nations final, right, to Senegal. They're ranked number sixth or seventh in the world.
Mm.
And for large spells in this game, they dominated the possession against Netherlands. And I don't know about you, but I've always associated Netherlands with possession-based football. Johan
Yeah.
Cruyff, right? That style of football, Ajax and all that. Like, Feyenoord, PSV, some big teams in Holland, right? They've always had a style of football, right? And when it comes to Europe, they've always been big sides competing at the upper echelons of the tournaments. Massive history. Ajax, Feyenoord, PSV, for example, right? They've won many titles, even European trophies as well. You think of Johan Cruyff, think the players that they had Van Marco van Basten, Arjen Robben, Wesley Sneijder, Clarence Seedorf, Ruud Gullit, Frank Rijkaard, Clarence
Mm.
Seedorf, Edgar Davids. They don't have that caliber play anymore.
No.
And they don't dictate the tempo it used to. And even then, bringing on big White Weghorst off the bench again, I think that if that's what you're trying to do to rescue a game, I think you should just give up because I think White Weghorst was a good player about 5 6 years ago in the Bundesliga.
Aye, no good legs
He's
anymore.
not even that. He's not that player anymore. Um, it doesn't even. He plays for Ajax now in the Eredivisie, and he still doesn't score that many goals for Ajax. So I think that the Netherlands have lost that few factors as well, and I thought Morocco deserved to go through. Again, the penalties weren't great either. I thought
Mm.
in terms of two penalty shooters, I thought two teams, four teams that shocking penalties, and it's just obviously that Yassine Bounou had the better. And I don't know you, but I don't know if you've seen the Jacob Somerville penalty save.
Mm.
I've never seen a goalkeeper just stand up. He jumped to the side and just punch out his hand like that.
Mm.
Because usually goalkeepers dive low and then raise their hand. I don't actually see a goalkeeper just moving their feet to the side and just standing and punching it.
Confident.
Unorthodox, but he's won the penalty shootout for it. And like you say, again, you can see the fall from grace, right? Jacob Somerville's a starting winger, right? He just get relegated to West Ham.
Yeah.
For me, that's where you cut the line for me. And even in Cody Gakpo scored a nice goal. But again, he plays better for his country than he does for his club. Talented player on his day, but just very inconsistent. And like I said, I think Memphis Depay, Brian Broby didn't really offer too much. And then you've got White Cost going to try wrestle game. So I think, and even then, when I was watching the game, Netherlands are the one climbing on for penalties, and they got to
Mm,
penalties. They didn't do themselves justice. So for me, Morocco deserve to go through it. And like you say, it's the World Cup of upsets.
mm,
And if you look at any fixtures that are coming up very soon, in terms of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
mm.
you can't predict any matches because expect the unexpected in this World Cup. Because as today's proven, Germany and Netherlands went out, and I don't think anyone would have bet that the two of them would have been out on the same day on penalties. No chance.
Ken reminds me of David and Goliath.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like the underdog wins, and
Mm.
it rarely happens. But when you see it happen, it's it's exciting.
For
It's
a neutral
fun.
point of view,
It's exciting
it's
as well because we're not Dutch or German, but we're also not Paraguayan or Moroccan. So
yeah.
we're watching as a neutral, as a Scotsman, two Scotsmen. So yeah, it's exciting to see. And like you say, I don't have any favour towards any of those teams, but
Mm,
when an underdog wins, you've got to talk about it, and I think it's exciting for a neutral. And
exactly.
like you say, like two big boys, their potential could have went on very far this tournament are now gone. So
Mm,
you look at the other teams like France, Spain,
mm,
Argentina, they'll be licking their lips. They'll be like two less competitors to get into the next round. But yeah,
exactly.
so we're now going to go on to some transfer news. Club football, so the English Premier League. So first, we'll talk about Enzo Maresca. He's been confirmed as the Manchester City manager. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen the statement from Chelsea, but basically they're saying that the reason that he left in January from Chelsea was because he knew Guardiola was leaving in the summer, and he wanted to take over from Guardiola. And Chelsea released a statement which I thought was pretty petty.
Mm.
But Enzo Maresca I thought did a brilliant job at Chelsea. Proved his credentials, done decent at Leicester, got him promoted, and yeah, I'm excited. I think like obviously worked under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, and I think the style of football is very similar, and I think he'll do well at Manchester. What's your thoughts on that, Tommy?
I think I totally agree. Can't say much more what you just said. I totally agree with everything you said. Like, very. I'm no Tom, but I've seen that was quite petty from Chelsea, and I thought like if you're a big club like Chelsea, man, stop throwing your toys when things don't work out. Right? Enzo Maresca has seen a bigger job. I mean, he's like, his Man City, current stature, their infrastructure is bigger than what Chelsea can offer, and they've been winning more league titles in recent years than Chelsea has. So he's got more high quality players at his disposal, and he's got the system that Pep Guardiola has been doing. And as you said, he's a very similar manager to Pep Guardiola, so he'll fit in perfectly. So it's a win-win situation for him. The players already understand Pep Guardiola's tactics, so he probably just does a little fine tweaking, not too much, and I think he'll be quite successful at the club. For me, like he's learned under Pep Guardiola, so it shows you he'll probably be quite similar in the future. Because obviously Pep Guardiola, great manager, and obviously people say he's not managed any weak teams or small teams, but why would you when you get the bigger offers?
And sticking with Man City, so it's not been confirmed yet, but it's close to being completed, and that's Elliot Anderson from Nottingham Forest to Manchester City for a rumoured fee of £150 million. Obviously, he's on the World Cup duty now with England. One of the starting midfielders for England, I thought he's had an incredible rise from obviously Newcastle United. And at the time when he was at Newcastle United, Tommy, I don't know if you remember, he was actually going to play for Scotland.
Mm.
Um, and like you say, he actually went away with Scotland in the camp and then decided against playing and then chose to represent England away to his time, which obviously at the time, massive disappointment for Scotland because look at him, he's now one of the best midfielders in the Premier League in his position, in terms of box to box, holding midfielder. Um, and I think, like you say, him and Declan Rice have got that two nailed down central fielder roles. And like you say, I think it's a massive fee, brilliant bit of business from Nottingham Forest. Um, But again, 150 million, I think it's a massive fee. It's a massive gamble. But he's a good player. But I genuinely don't think he's worth that much. But I think also it must be the English tax in the Premier League.
Mm.
But yeah, we've got to talk about Man City, and I think obviously it'll be probably Maresca's first signing as manager. What's your thoughts?
I think financial fair play needs to be checked because that's a lot of money in one player, and they've already faced previous charges in the past, Man City, for like how much money they've been spending, and is it fair on all teams? I fair play. Elliot Anderson has been improving every year. I'm getting going up a level every time. I do think it's too much for any player. Is 115 million because 80 million or 90 million euros would have got you a Cristiano Ronaldo back in the day. 115 million is going to get you an Elliot Anderson. Does really make the same like aura or the same feeling. I do think like as you say, English tax. If you've got an England, if you're from England, your price goes up like 100%. And as you said, also Declan Rice, he did something quite similar where he was going to represent Ireland. He was already in the camp and that, and then he
Well,
decided.
he did represent Ireland just in two friendly matches. Never played a competitive match. Same with Jack Grealish.
I think I know, like he's also from England, Declan Rice, but man, I felt as if he betrayed. And Elliot Anderson, when he said he was going to play for Scotland, I was excited because that'd be a great addition to the midfield, and is that we actually need a lot of midfielders because some of the midfield don't work well together. And as you said, like Elliot Anderson has been outstanding. He's been the best player in the Premier League at his position. So it's a no-brainer for Man City, but I think they overpaid for it. But I think he'll be very good for Man City because he already performs in the Premier League for a small team. So taking a step up shouldn't be too difficult for him.
Yep, sorry for the delay. I had to get my laptop in charge. It was low battery. I
Mm.
don't want to cut out mid podcast. But yeah, no, I totally agree with everything you say. And like I say, I think Maresca's a good appointment, and I think Elliot Anderson's a good player, just a bit over the top in terms of the fee. In terms of the last bit of transfer news, so we'll go over to the Scottish Premiership, and it's been confirmed that Ben Godfrey, former Everton, Sheffield United, and Atalanta defender, is joined on a seasonal loan from Atalanta with an option to buy at the end of the season. 28-year-old defender. He has been capped at international for England, but a considerable long time ago. He can play obviously central defence and also either full back as well. So I think he's a solid option for Rangers. Um, a good appointment in terms of a good signing, sorry. And I think it just strengthens that defence. Obviously, Rangers have been very weak defensively last season. So I think it's a solid option. What about you?
I think if it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I'd be like, wow, they were Ben Godfrey because I knew he was a good talent. But I think in recent like kind of seasons, he's really not really performed. He's had a couple of injuries and his forms went down a wee bit. I do think he is a solid defender. He's shown that in the past. So, but it kind of gives me the kind of same feeling that Jack Butland when he was at Stoke. Like they had the same feeling that they were great, and now they're going. I do think he's going to have a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? Because it teams like Rangers, you don't really get time to wait to get good. You need to hit the ground like running, and
The European
good signing
qualifiers
for
pretty soon,
Rangers.
aren't you? So
Hmm?
European qualifiers next month. So for both Celtic and Rangers, so you don't have time to bed any time. You have to hit the ground running.
And have you also heard the rumour that Rangers also have another signing, was just rumoured, and they're planning to replace the goalkeeper. So,
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, the Hull City goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure it's pretty close with Jack Butland going opposite way, but I think it's two separate deals.
do you
Um,
think that's an upgrade?
£6 million for the goalkeeper, and they're selling Jack Butland for 3 million. I think selling Jack Butland for 3 million is a remarkable bit of business because I think his first season, Jack Butland's very good. On form, he's very good, but he's had a lot of mistakes recently,
Hmm.
and he's getting pretty old, and I'm pretty sure they got Jack Butland for pennies. So profit there. I don't know anything about
This
the
goalkeeper.
Hull City goalkeeper. But he just got promoted to the Premier League, so I don't know why he would leave a Premier League outfit to go to Rangers.
Scotland, yeah.
But it remains to be seen that that's not confirmed yet, but it's pretty near completion. But we'll talk about it when it's been confirmed.
Exactly.
And for the final part of the show, I'll talk a little bit about Asian football news. There's only one bit of transfer news to talk about, and that is Takumo Asano. So he's returned to Sanfrecce Hiroshima on a permanent deal. The 31-year-old forward returns to Japan after spending 10 years in Europe. And that is all your latest Asian football news. And that's been all for me and Tommy today. The podcast will be available to listen to on the Football Chuggu website, YouTube channel, and all other available streaming platforms. Until next time, see you later.
Catch you later.